Welcome to Alternate Ending, where we're discovering good movies one bad movie at a time. I'm your host, Robert Jarsinski. Across from me is my wife, Carrie Jarsinski. This episode, we're talking about our top 5 Thanksgiving movies, and we just went through a very large Thanksgiving festivity hosted by your family. Is that right, Care?
Yeah. We went up to Tomah, Wisconsin. Stayed at my cousin's new venue that they purchased.
A venue?
Or, you know.
Venue that they purchased? They purchased like a musical theater show?
A motel. They purchased a motel.
No, it's a very nice, very quaint place called the Lark Inn. They purchased it from the original owners. And a series of, it has motels, mobile homes?
Mobile homes.
Mobile home park, 2 apartments, and then the very grand home.
Some cabins. There's also cabins.
Yeah, I don't want to forget the cabins. I didn't get a peek into the cabins.
I heard they were nice.
Yeah. Didn't get a chance to see those, but the house was very accommodating because there were over 40 guests. You have a ridiculously large family.
You love it, don't you?
Yeah. I do love it. I know we're doing Thanksgiving movies, and your family, and no knock on my family. I was only child. My parents are originally both from Poland. We don't have a lot of family here in the States, or they're spread across the States, so we didn't get a chance to see them very often. So growing up watching Thanksgiving movies, like the ones we're going to talk about, you know, you see these big Thanksgiving dinners, the crazy uncle, which I think
you had
now,
like a pierogi.
I am that crazy uncle, I think is what's happening.
You think?
We didn't have pierogies. My parents actually would take us out to Vegas, would be oftentimes the way. Like if their friends weren't doing anything.
Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Great buffets. Great buffets in Vegas. Turkey buffets, obviously, pumpkin pie, and I played video games.
I feel sad hearing this story.
It's sad, but I had fun doing that as well. But yeah, your family Thanksgivings and holidays are the traditional things that I think when people think about the movie-esque Christmas and Thanksgiving type holidays, like your family is it.
We're a one-stop shop. We've got like the weird uncle.
Yep.
The weird uncle that you want to avoid.
Yep.
I won't say who you are. We have like the other end of the spectrum where it's like, you know, we've got the partiers, the people that are going to stay up till 1 a.m, which is usually me. In this case, it was 1 o'clock, or it was 8:30.
You get the eyes.
Eyes?
You get the eyes, like the schmoopy eyes when you've been overserved, and it happened right around like
7:30 p.m.
9 p.m. Yeah, I want to give you a little bit of credit. It was like I started getting the schmoopy eyes, and like I love you.
I didn't even remember seeing you there.
Yeah, that's because your eyes were too schmoopy. You couldn't focus.
Okay.
They wouldn't focus on me. That's true. You didn't see me. I went to bed with.
I get very swept up in the moment. I get very much like I'm surrounded by all of these people that are great and that I love, and you only live once, and you know, YOLO. Yeah. And then the next morning, I'm like, literally, you only live once. I'm going to die. Like I felt really poor the next day.
You seemed okay. You recovered well. Got up early.
Thanks,
and stayed up late with Alice, who kept mumbling things throughout the night. And there was a train that goes through Tomah. For those who know Tomah, Wisconsin, about 2 hours north of Madison, a train kept passing by, and she kept saying, "Santa on train."
Was that her?
Super
I kept
cute.
just assuming that was the wine. I just
it
thought
her.
it was the box wine I had.
Endless Santa references and choo-choo trains that kept her going. But now that it's behind us, I'm excited because I feel good. I feel like I have a head start on Christmas. I have the lights up. I'm ready to go. I'm done. Like I feel like you're a little.
Did you say you have the lights up? I like how you pluralized that.
There are lights. There's a green light and a red light that emanate.
I love that you're even bringing this up. I can't even.
I'm very proud of it. What do you mean? Why shouldn't I be proud? Most people waited much longer.
Let's reclassify.
It was actually ready before Thanksgiving.
Let's reclassify this. Rob has the light up. Rob went out and purchased one of those lights that illuminates many lights onto the face of your home, so you actually have to stick one stake in the ground to illuminate your Christmas lights.
I don't think you should be knocking it. It's a very popular holiday item. Amazon informed me that it's one of the biggest holiday items currently on the market right now. And yes, it changes functions. There's a tree feature. There's a snowman that it molds into, and it has variable settings. It can flash at various rates.
I found it was searchable under like lazy man's Christmas decor.
To be fair, we did not proactively go and get the lights at a discounted rate following Christmas, which we probably should have done. I will say you're right. Nothing was more disappointing than last night as we were driving home, and some of the neighbors actually did, the Clark Griswold.
Did the plural.
Yeah, actual lights.
Yeah.
And the girls were like, oh, how come we can't have lights like that, Daddy?
Daddy, when are you putting up the Christmas lights? And Rob's like,
what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
The light is up.
So, some reparations
The good
needed
thing
there,
is, here's how I think about it. They're only 5 and 2. There's very few memories that I have of this age. Like, they
Good.
will very likely not remember your Christmas fail.
No
of
lasting
this year.
scars from that.
Next year, you need to step it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Won't pursue like an electrician to spurn me somehow, like in a relationship fashion. Like, I'm gonna marry some sort of like light.
I don't know what's
decorator.
happening right now. No,
I'm not
but
sure either. Well, what else? Should we just get into it? That's worth mentioning. I feel like we've been going on a bit.
yeah, I want to hear about them.
Well, worth mentioning. What is the worth mentioning segment of the movies we've seen since the last? Excuse me. A couple wine glasses have already have affected my speaking. Since the last episode, which are the ones we want to talk about most? They could be great movies. They could be terrible. We share them worst to first. We might even decide to not share one since we plan to wreck them to the other person. Care, how many movies have you seen since the last episode?
So many.
So many? Does it dwarf my 13 that I've seen?
Pretty close.
You're kidding.
It's weird. I don't even know really what happened. You didn't travel. Let me count.
How did you go about even?
Four,
Usually, I get the last minute, like 11th hour. What movies did we watch, Rob?
I saw 11 movies.
That's impressive.
I feel really good
so this
about
is
it.
going to be intriguing because it's going to be tough for you to narrow it down.
It was actually a little bit difficult, so I did a thing.
Well, you did this thing that annoyed me because all of a sudden you developed ethics, and I don't know where this came from because
I've never had ethics. What are you talking about?
I appreciate that. That means a lot. Let's see if that actually occurs in this episode because I really wanted to push you to talk about some certain movies because I wanted to talk about other movies, and you were like, "No, I have to be true to the listeners." And I was like, "When have you ever?"
I think you're
Why
making
now?
that up. I don't think I said that.
Something
Did
like
I say
that. You said something along those
to the
lines.
code of the podcast.
Well, so do you feel like there'll be any overlap?
no.
No overlap. Let me see.
Maybe.
Well, that's
No.
concerning. Well, I
No.
think, well,
One.
I think one as well. So people have been asking me, where I'm at with the movie count. I had committed to 200 movies for the audience. I'm at 182 with a little over 31 days to go. So 18 movies in 31 days. I feel I can do it. But let's get into this episode. Care, what is your number 3 worth mentioning?
My number 3 is a movie that I felt compelled to put on this episode because it was a part of my top 5 movies of the year that I said that I called back in, what was it, January?
Yeah, we did an early year episode, kind of forecasting what we thought based on trailers or other information. What would be our favorite movies of the year, and which one was this one? And it ranks number 3 on your list. So
it's number 3.
Yeah,
it was a good couple weeks for movies, though. I will say that. But number 3 for me was the 2016 flick, The Purge: Election Year. Put it in there.
Third installment, right?
Third installment. Directed and written by James DeMonico, stars Frank Grillo, Elizabeth Mitchell, and Michael T. Williamson. Like Rob said, third installment of The Purge, which is the movie which I've talked about before, liking the first installment, where there's this whole concept of one time every year, police go away, all law goes away, all rule goes away, and people can come out and basically, murder people,
everything's
right?
legal, including murder.
Everything's legal, including murder. So they're able to eliminate as many people as they want. So in this particular one, it's where they're going after a presidential candidate. It's a presidential election year. There's 2 people that are divided, one who's for, one who's against the purge. So there's obviously people who are opposed to one of the candidates who wants to turn off the purge.
And the reason is she's the female candidate is the purge disproportionately affects those who are impoverished.
Who
don't have
a home,
resources,
who can lock themselves in like everybody else. So what I will say about this movie, so it gets a 6.0 on IMDb, not the highest of ratings.
That's pretty high for what it is. And
I was going to say, okay, so here's the thing. While it's 3 for me, I preferred the third installment to the second installment.
Do I agree? I don't know. I don't know.
It probably all blurs together in a bit of a bloody gore. But here's the other thing that I really liked about this one. The first and second ones, if you cringed a little bit and thought, you know what, this is just too much for me, too much gore, I actually think this one was much more tastefully gory. Would you agree?
Yeah, it wasn't as. I mean,
it wasn't as graphic.
It's a graphic movie to begin with, but yeah, they kind of maybe hit
they brought it down a notch.
I
bet they got reviews that they were like, "This is too much." Like we like the concept of it, we like the theme of it.
And the concept is a strong concept. I still miss the original, which was more of a smaller movie that took place more in a single home. It built on the backdrop of the Purge, but like took place focusing on
more
a single
tension
family,
building and whatever.
With a homeless individual kind of coming into their lives, and then deciding, do we protect him or send him out? And the first one was great.
It was great. This one I would say better than the second. I would say my recommendation is if you liked the Purge, the first one, I'd recommend seeing the third. I wouldn't recommend paying for it. So I guess I made my number 3.
So you'd stream it.
I'd stream it.
You'd stream it if it was there, pass the time with it.
If you saw it on the curb laying there,
a couple of audience members say not sure if they could handle yet another one, which was kind of the.
But that's where I call back. Like it's better than 2. If 2 was a little much for you, give it a try.
Give it a try. Good, very good.
Yeah.
Mine, all my 3, I'm very excited about because they're all, I think, really good movies. Like, and I'll get into a little bit more on it. One that I took a chance on, and I really love doing this. I love taking a chance on one where I'm like, I'm reluctant. And 9 times out of 10, it bombs for me. Like I'm like, oh, why did I do this? This movie is the reason why we do this podcast. This movie is Get the Gringo, 2012's Get the Gringo. The title alone made me want to throw up in my mouth a little bit. Hour and 36 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.0. Rotten Tomatoes 81%. So it's not that it's like unknown that it's good. IMDb supports that in Rotten Tomatoes. But for some reason, I kept passing over it. It's directed by Adrian Grunberg, written by Mel Gibson and starring Mel Gibson and this awesome kid, kind of 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, Kevin Hernandez. Back a little bit of plot on this. A career criminal nabbed by Mexican authorities is placed in a tough prison where he learns to survive with the help of a young boy. This is such a stylized movie, like really well done. Say what you want about Mel Gibson. Your cousin Kellen and I, or cousin-in-law Kellen and I talked at length about this. Like, probably not the greatest person given his arrest situation that he went in and went on a belligerent.
What did he get arrested for?
Oh, DUI back in 2006, which, we'll talk a little bit more about that later because of the rec that I was assigned, which he directed, Hacksaw Ridge, which we'll get into as my rec, but. I really love Mel Gibson as an actor, and I love him as a director. And this is him being classic Mel Gibson acting, and really he probably had a hand in this direction as well, because Adrian Grunberg, who directed this, is a first assistant director and second assistant director to Mel in the past. So I'm sure Mel had a little handle on kind of the behind the screen. This is his way to get back into it. It is a fun, fast-paced, interesting. Have you ever wondered what Mexican prison is like?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't laid awake on that one.
I had no idea if this is any way, shape, or form a reflection of what the Mexican penal system looks like and prison system looks like. Wow, it's basically like a city. They just create a city and
box it in.
You can pay. Yeah, it's kind of. I don't even know if it's really. Yeah, it's caged in, but you can pay to have your family come and live with you in the city. And
it's kind of sweet.
Yeah, you have jobs. Like there's actual, you can make money, and it focuses more on Mel Gibson probably being somewhat of an anti-hero. Like you're rooting for him. He's technically a bad guy, but he forms this relationship with this kid, and he kind of wants to take care of him and help the kid out, but also has his own interests in mind as well. And great plot. I really recommend this. It is streaming right now. That's how I caught it.
I
streaming
want to watch it
on Netflix. I'm
curious. When did you see this?
You were downstairs working. Here in the studio on actual work.
On real work.
Same and I was like, I might as well watch a movie.
That's
and
nice.
It paid off for me. It reminds me a lot of, and they said this is it kind of like an unofficial sequel to Payback. Don't let the title Get the Gringo fool you guys. Go check this out right now on Netflix before it goes away. It has a terrible title. It was supposed to be called How I Spent My Summer Vacation, which
also terrible
based
on what you've said.
But it's kind of funny now that I've seen that movie. Like I would have appreciated that more. But really great movie, guys. Especially for the Team Rob listeners, go check this out. All right, What's number 2 for you?
I kind of want to see it now.
Yeah, you should. It's streaming. We should go check it out after the show.
Am I going to cry though? Is it a sad one?
No, there's no
one
tears.
dies, right?
Well,
don't tell me.
There's some death. Lots of death.
What?
It's an action movie.
All right.
It's a Mel Gibson action movie, which I haven't seen a good action movie in a long time.
Hacksaw Ridge, that wasn't gory. No.
That was more. Yeah, we'll get into
anyway. So my second one that I pulled out was again, saw many, was the 2016 movie Moana.
Woohoo! I'm glad
Did you want me to talk about that?
Yeah, of course I wanted you to talk about Moana. I had left it off my list.
So here's my thing about like talking about animated movies. So I do know you wanted me to talk about this one, which is weird. Why do I have this like weird inner thing where once you've told me you want me to do something, I find it really difficult to do it.
That's our relationship.
It's such a struggle.
I was
like, I actually do legitimately want to talk about this movie, but because you were like, oh, I hope you can talk about Moana, everything was saying no. Everything was saying choose, Big Eyes or whatever we saw, that documentary that wasn't that good.
That wasn't a documentary.
It wasn't?
No.
Oh yeah, you're right.
No.
So whatever. Anyway, good thing I didn't talk about it.
We'll get into Big Eyes.
But long story short, it was really tugging at my heartstrings not to talk about it because you wanted me to. But I came to peace with it. Excellent animated movie. And I really like to share the animated movies for the parents because I think there's a lot to be said for picking the right animated movies for the right age of kids. And I have found it's really difficult to get that from reading online. I think there's a lot of misinformation around like the age appropriateness of those. So I like to talk about them. So anyway, so that was why, on top of it being an excellent movie. So directed by Ron Clements, Don Hall and John Musker, written by Jared Bush. It stars...
Good luck. Good
I
luck
know.
with the pronunciations. And
I know.
And let's stop on that point for a moment is thank goodness, right? Like we
Yeah.
get all this whitewashing in Hollywood and we get all of this kind of, whatever happened during the Oscars so white situation. And this is a cast fully loaded with native, Pacific Islanders.
Right.
Pretty much,
it's like
right?
a Pacific Islander, and then they're like, her name is Mary Johansson, or something like that. So what was nice about this stars Ayuli Cravalho.
Sure, why not?
Also The Rock.
Yeah.
I think I did that right.
Yeah, The Rock, yeah, you said that right.
I did. You're something. And Rachel House. It's about a girl and a family who it's set in ancient Polynesian times. They live on this island, and they're an island. They survive off of the island. So everything that's provided to them, how they survive, the coconuts, the fish, everything is provided to them, and they hunt and they find these things. So this terrible curse is incurred by, is incurred. And the young girl, Moana, has to go out and basically go on this epic journey to go against the darkness and find, release the darkness so that, prosperity can be brought back to her island. It gets an 8.3 on IMDb. It was just a really great animated flick. I'd say we took Abby, we took Alice, we took several of my adult cousins over Thanksgiving. I think everybody walked away with like a little bit of a tear, a little bit of warmth. I had a little bit of a hangover, but other than that, like we had a little bit of everything.
I like the music too, and that was the thing for me too. Is
Really
I was
good.
hanging on the music, just the Polynesian theme and the what Pacific Islander kind of theme things. A lot of the music written by Lin-Manuel, the guy who starred in Hamilton, wrote all the music of Hamilton. Plays a role in this just with all the music. I think frontrunner for best animated feature of the year.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure yet. I still need to go back and think about it. Abby's feedback to us was she preferred Trolls.
Don't even say it out loud.
I know.
I don't want
we got to work.
discredit
We
our
got to work.
children.
The reason is for her, it was the lava monster was too
scary.
Too scary.
And really, so realistically, I think age appropriateness wise, if I were to say it, I would say it's a 5 and up, 4 and up. Abby's a little sensitive, but maybe 4 and up, 5 and up.
And I was talking with your cousin again, Kellen Rogenbach, on this, and I mentioned it to a couple colleagues today at work, my manager and a colleague, that what I really liked about this was it focuses on a female lead,
right?
And there's no romance. There's no prince that she's after.
Did you think she was going to like the demigod
No, there was
guy?
never. There was. I knew this was literally a female-driven adventure movie.
Yeah.
Where that is the plot. There is no trying to fall in love, and which is been done. And like let's let a female-centric character have some adventure and that's it. Like we don't need a lovey-dovey it. Like and it was well done. I laughed. I laughed so much.
I laughed a bunch.
There were a lot of laugh picks.
It's not that overt laughing like you get in what's that other one that we saw?
Storks.
It's not like that, like farty humor, which is also funny.
I
but
feel like that was more geared towards adult storks.
It was.
Yeah.
And this was geared towards children, but still with some humor for the adults.
Absolutely.
So definitely recommend
worth
seeing
theater?
it and theater.
Yeah.
I think it's worth seeing in the
so
theater too.
How was the image? Sorry to hang on this one. The images, the animation.
Really, really good.
Animation was
good
amazing.
animation.
Yeah.
So recommend seeing in theaters with kids if so.
Well, I appreciate it because this one would have taken up space on my worth mentioning. So I appreciate whether you did it intentionally or not, including it. I appreciate it.
Oh, believe me, it was painful.
Because I really wanted to talk about 2015's Danny Collins. Danny Collins streaming on Amazon right now. Don't pass this one up, guys. Hour 42 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.0. Rotten Tomatoes 78%. Written and directed by Dan Fogelman, writer of Crazy Stupid Love. He wrote Tangled, which is one of my favorite animated movies. Or he wrote those two. Directorial debut, really. He's got another movie coming out next year called Life Itself, starring Oscar Isaac. Danny Collins stars Al Pacino, Annette Bening, Jennifer Garner, Bobby Cannavale, and Christopher Plummer. Basically about an aging rock star decides to change his life forever when he discovers a 40-year-old letter written to him by John Lennon. So, imagine yourself, you're a newcomer to the music scene. You've just written your first kind of hit song. You're like a Bob Dylan type of singer-songwriter. You go on this radio show, and you talk about, the perils of fame and fortune and things like that, and how, what's going to happen when you're going to be a millionaire. You're going to be how will you deal with that success? Fast forward, now you're in your 60s or 70s, whatever, and you've kind of sold out. You've lived a career, that you're not proud of, likely, but that you're enjoying, of just complete luxury, and you've made millions. You have the 20-something wife. You're doing coke.
The ideal, the dream.
Yeah, the coke.
And
Al Pacino plays this character very well.
He always does.
This, I have not seen Al Pacino like this for so long.
Yeah.
And this is a great, great movie. And then all of a sudden, you find out a little bit of a sliding door situation. What could have been? Apparently, someone was listening. Someone very important in your life was listening to that radio debut or whatever back in the 70s. John Lennon was listening, and he was captivated by you, and he wrote you a letter that you never got, that you never received until now, when you're in your 60s or whatever, saying, "Hey man, don't let the fame and I'm butchering
is
British.
He like
is Jamaican?
Australian or like?
Don't let
hey,
the
mom.
fame. Don't let the fame and fortune get to your head, man. Be true to yourself. Here's my phone number. Give me a call. Yoko and I can help you figure this out." Would that have changed your life?
No.
No, come on, it would have.
No, it wouldn't have. I thought about it because I
Okay.
also watched this movie, and I think we're just different people. I know that would have changed the course of your life. For me, it would have been like, oh, it's a letter. Like, he's just another dude.
It's not so much a matter of whether it would have or wouldn't have. It's where it found him in his current situation.
Right. He was
made
in a
him
bad
question
place.
everything.
Sure.
He thought he was happy. He thought he had, but there was something missing, and this letter kind of confirmed it and gave him the option to possibly reinvent his life.
Why does one person's affirmation suddenly like?
John Lennon isn't just one person. I mean,
he's a musician.
He's not just a musician, Care. He's probably the musician.
So how do you get to that? Like, it's like,
well, and that's what,
Well,
that's the thing. How do you get to that, and how do you deal with it when you get there? And nobody did it better than John Lennon, dealing with that and staying true to himself and his music. And the Al Pacino character sold out. He started having people write for him and became kind of a sham of himself and go out. Anyway, it calls into question. That's where the movie really takes off is that part of like starting over, trying to be true to yourself again. Can you start over?
Can you reinvent
yourself?
Yeah.
Can you go back and salvage it? And a lot of humor, honesty, like cool moments.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was very good. And
Not
it's one of those things.
Purge
It
election year.
is it's better than Purge.
I know.
It's one of those things. So for me, this is not something I wouldn't have paid for. Get the Gringo, maybe. Oh, I don't know if I would.
Don't pay for this one either, though. Wait for it to be free.
Like $1.99. Like, okay, it is streaming. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it is streaming.
Catch it if it's
go
streaming.
see it
It's
right
worth
now.
seeing.
Like, I think it's imperative that while it's free and still available, you see this movie because I think it's pretty. I think
Agreed.
it's very good.
No, I think it's good.
So that was my number 2, and it's actually based on a true story. This actually happened to a person.
No, I know.
So
I was there in the movie.
I thought you fell asleep a little bit.
I did.
Okay.
But I got that part.
Number 1 for now. I'm curious. Number 1.
So
this is where I anticipated our overlap.
Is it?
This is where I anticipated.
All right. So here's my thing with my number one. I like I said, I saw so many movies this last span of time that I struggled a bit, but I found for this particular movie that was made in 2016. Is that matching?
It's a match.
It's a match.
So far.
That I found myself talking about it all the time. So we were at Thanksgiving, and I was like,
Sign of a good movie.
Sign of a good movie. People were like,
or a bad good movie.
People were like, oh, how do you like the stuffing? And I was like, let me tell you about this really good flick. You know, and I found myself saying it to everybody. And then it wasn't like I just said it to one person that I thought would like it. I said it to my parents. I said it to my friends. I said it to my family. Like I kept passing on the knowledge of this movie, which made me which led me to the fact that I think it's a movie that everybody should see. And it's why it's my number one, which is the 2016 flick.
I'm with you.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Is there a p?
Yeah, there
right.
is. You're being plosive in the microphone.
Sorry about that. Captain Fantastic. Do we match?
We match up. We match up so well. I'm glad. High five.
High five.
Because
high five.
I'm glad you have taste. That makes me feel good.
In movies.
In movie.
So
let's jump on this together.
I'm so excited to talk about it. So it's directed by Matt Ross, written by Matt Ross as well.
Who is an actor. So
what is he in?
Plays Gavin Belson on Silicon Valley. He's done a host of other acting roles. Is
Silicon Valley the one with the three guys that work in the office?
No, they've developed like an app and like dealing with the success of the app and trying to like bring it to market. And Gavin Belson plays the character. Matt Ross plays like this kind of bad guy almost in it. Oh my goodness! This is really his second movie.
What did we get? We paid for this though.
Maybe first movie. We paid for it on Amazon like $4.99.
$4.99. Will it ever go free? Who knows?
Yeah,
but if it doesn't go free,
it's still worth paying for.
It's still worth paying for.
Yeah. I wouldn't have seen it. I don't know if I would have paid theater money. I'll just get that right out.
It's not worth theater money. It's worth not having your kids around because there is a little bit of Viggo Mortensen's nudity, frontal.
Viggo peen.
Thank you.
That's what I call it.
Kind of weirds me out when you say that. I realize
that's
that
why I say
after
it.
another episode. So stars Viggo Mortensen, George McKay, many other children that he has. Viggo has, I think, 5 or 6 kids in the movie. Steve Zahn, who I really like, Catherine Hahn, and Frank Langella.
But it's really about Viggo and his kids.
Mostly about yeah. I'm listing out people that other people might know, but yeah, mostly Viggo and his really, really epically awesome kids. Do you want to talk about the plot?
Yeah, so why are they epically awesome? He has done what we and his wife have done, what we sometimes daydream about. Because the world is getting kind of crappy.
Right.
You know, and we feel that like whenever you pick up the news, like it's another terrible thing, education system falling apart. I love that
you're going this way. Just keep going with this.
Okay.
Keep going with this.
And we have talked about like, should we just move to a remote island or somewhere remote and just like live off the land and teach our children the ways? And now having seen this movie, I am not capable of quite the level I would love in theory to do this.
It took this movie to let you know that you weren't capable of living off the land.
Forget the living off the land part. That in its own right is.
You cried when you saw a mouse
difficult.
die the other day in the garage.
But Viggo Mortensen is not a pseudo intellectual. He is a legitimate intellectual, and his wife are legitimate, and they've raised these amazing
awesome kids
who are super. They speak like 8 languages. The 5-year-old is reading Dostoevsky. He's a devoted father.
They're physical specimens too, right?
Physical specimen. Yeah, he trains them physically, mentally. Every day there's like he has a plan.
I just remembered. So that's where this starts. So Rob picks out this movie. We had some friends over and we're watching it.
Like, hey, what's a good comedy?
Rob's like, what's it? Oh yeah. So Rob's like, I was like, I need something light. I need something really light tonight. It's one of those days I can't have anything dramatic or anything that's going to make me sad. The first 20 minutes of the movie are a deer hunt. Well, like first of all, like. Not great for me. That's not great.
Let's just put it that on the way home from Thanksgiving, I have to shield Carrie's eyes because it's hunting season, and Carrie drives extremely slow at nighttime here in Wisconsin at the very thought of perhaps seeing and running into a deer.
Like a pedestrian's fine, but running into deer is like the worst.
Carrie is
so anyway, I'm a little paranoid about it. So anyway, the first like 20 minutes, I'm like shielding my eyes. And Rob's like, it's a comedy, I swear, guys. And I was like, I'm not feeling like it's a comedy right now. It's feeling a little tense, a little dramatic.
And then it like hung on the deer scene. Like,
yes,
and then,
let's
the
make a
prepping
pelt
deer.
out of it. Let's drain the deer.
It was
And I
his
like,
eldest son it was his transition into adulthood, like having to.
I was mad at first.
But still cool. So, okay, let's talk. If you're going to hunt animals, that is the way to do it.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, forget guns. Like, that's an unfair advantage. Do it with your bare hands.
Your hands, yeah.
With your bare hands, with a trap that you made by your hands.
Right.
With a knife. Sure, I'll give you a knife. And then you've earned that. Or a bow or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know, like, that's cool.
It was intense.
Yeah.
But
so the plot really develops when you realize, like, all right, you kind of, and this is early on, folks, so I'm not spoiling anything. But the mom is like gone for some reason. You don't know why. She's mentioned. But it creates a situation where the family needs to go on a road trip. And then the movie continues there are so many funny honest moments. Not funny. I mean, it's just, this is exactly my kind of movie.
Yeah.
I love this movie.
It was Little Miss Sunshine meets Grizzly Adams.
I like it so much better than Little Miss Sunshine.
I like it for different reasons, but it was good.
The questions it makes you ask and addresses to me is there are positives to the lifestyle that he has chosen for sure.
Right.
But then it makes you question, like, what are those kids?
What are the downsides?
What are the downsides? Because it really paints them like, oh my gosh, what are the downsides? Like, clearly they're well-adjusted kids, and maybe they're not. Like, maybe there is something to be a little bit part of society.
Right.
To me, is kind of
the edge of society.
You know, you can go off and be off the grid and everything like that too. But will you ultimately be missing something? And it calls into question what he and his wife have started. And there's resistance. There's tension on both ends. There's a father-in-law who's kind of like mad that, you know.
Just go see it. I don't want to give away too much. It's really
awesome.
great. Yeah, I would recommend seeing that.
Yeah. Phil LaRucco, who we saw with his wife Carrie, said it was a good movie, but still not sure why it's classified as a comedy. So I agree there. It's not just a comedy.
Indie drama.
It is indie drama.
Slight comedy.
With laughing. Genuine, like laugh out loud laughing.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So other movies that I saw that I think are worth watching. The Wave is streaming currently on Amazon. Street Fight streaming on Netflix. We saw that. I give Trolls, which we talked about, a meh. Karen Zielinski agrees. She has kids, 3 kids, said not what I hope for. I agree. We saw Freeheld. We didn't talk about it. I give that a meh. Good drama, but like a little heavy.
Too heavy for me.
Yeah, a little bit. You completed The Beautiful.
That's what I was just going to say.
Before Sunset, Before Midnight.
So that was my other thing. That's the only, I get really irritated when Rob rambles on about the other movies that he saw, but really quickly I'll say I capped out the series of, what's the first one again?
Before
Morning?
Sunrise?
Before Sunrise.
Yes.
And I saw Before Sunset and Before Midnight, which are the other 2 in the series. Highly recommend watching all 3 of those series in that series.
You highly recommend. Really?
Yeah.
You for your audience, maybe. I don't know if I could say, like, Team Rob, go sit through all 3 of these.
So, all right. Let me back it up a notch.
You highly recommend everybody sit through.
No, all right. I back it up a notch.
6 hours.
I highly recommend.
Well, the problem is if you see the first one, then you got to go. You got to keep going.
That's the thing.
That's the
I was
problem.
hooked. Yeah. I had to know what happened, and you know what? It got really real. It got really like, I think in the third one, there's this really nasty argument that mirrored a really nasty argument that Rob and I had over the last couple weeks. We don't ever argue.
We're perfect.
No, yeah, no, we're definitely not. And it mirrored that, and it was like, it's nice to see the other people argue about ridiculous things. Like there's like something affirming about that. So anyway, I recommend watching that series to a lot of people that like Richard Linklater and like sort of like real life type movies.
Yeah. Definitely some real life situations and just some long takes, man, that are just incredible.
Yeah.
Where the actors are just going on and I don't know, they must be improvising the conversations. Like they have like a rough idea of what they're. Anyway, before Sunrise series, will you see another one like 9 years? Because it's every 9 years now.
Yeah, I will.
Like.
Of course I will.
You'll go see the next one when they're
it's like
50s.
when 50 Shades of Grey. You have to carry on.
I shouldn't say anything. I shouldn't say anything because I feel like it's a spoiler. We saw Big Eyes with your parents. I was disappointed. I think it was an interesting story. That's streaming currently on Netflix.
I don't like anger. I don't like angry guys.
Yeah.
He was kind of a mean husband.
True story about like a female artist whose husband took credit for her work for for a long time and all of her fame, and she kind of sat behind.
It's okay for free.
Yeah, it's just not a very good movie.
Not great.
Yeah. Anyway, remember you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternateendingpod.com. That's alternateendingpod.com. Normally at this time, before we head to our break, we talk about all the things that were purchased, but I think people are really waiting for today, for Cyber Monday, because we have not had a single purchase made yet. So, folks, go out there. Helping us support the show is easy. Go to our website, alternatingpod.com, click on the Amazon banner, then seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. When we get back, our top 5 Thanksgiving movies.
It's like the words are trapped inside. Wanna speak, but my tongue is tied. And you're still calling.
And welcome back to Alternating, where we're talking about our top 5 Thanksgiving movies. Care, what makes a Thanksgiving movie for you?
There has to be a Thanksgiving scene in the movie.
Okay.
Within the movie.
That's pretty good.
Thanks.
We usually don't agree on this. That is actually where I started my list. Well, I started my list. I ended up with, through my research, probably about 30 or so movies, 5 of which had Thanksgiving scenes and 25 which took place around Thanksgiving. So I ended up excluding just the ones that had a Thanksgiving scene, and that was it. So I focused on ones that were centered around Thanksgiving, and then I picked my favorite movies from there, both critically, and I kind of gave more weight maybe to some.
Oh, see, I went more applicable, and I said it had to have like an actual Thanksgiving scene. It couldn't have taken place in November.
Well, let me hold on. All of mine have a Thanksgiving.
There's a turkey being eaten.
Yes, and all 5 of mine.
There's stuffing.
I'm pretty sure.
And some potatoes.
Yes, but Thanksgiving is the central. You got extra points for like it being Thanksgiving centric, like not just a scene, like a throwaway scene. Like,
well, in that case, I get no points.
All 5 of yours are like throwaway scenes.
No, I don't know. I struggled with this one, like I always do. You got specific on me, and I've seen a smaller subset of the movies that you've seen, so I'm
pretty happy. We were challenged.
All of mine have Thanksgiving.
People were questioning, like, are there even 5 Thanksgiving movies? And I assure you, folks, there are plenty. So why don't you go in? Go ahead. Let's get started with number 5.
How much overlap do you think there's going to be?
1.
Oh, see, I was going to say 5.
No.
You don't think so?
No. There's 1 overlap.
I could actually find 5 movies.
I give weight. Again? That's all right. That's okay. You found 5 that you've seen.
You just gave me the pity face.
There was a face.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get a camera in here so people can see. But you've seen all 5 of these?
Yeah.
There's a Thanksgiving scene at least?
Yeah.
Present? Okay.
Of course.
All right.
Don't cheat the system.
Then I'm okay. I feel good.
All right. So my number 5, I guess it is in a particular order, is the 1993 flick. Do you have anything from 1993?
I'm skimming the list. Nope.
Oh, Addams Family Values.
Nice.
Directed by Barry Sonnenfeld, written by Charles Addams. He's not related.
Relation?
No. Oh, no, but
I was waiting for your joke. What do you mean?
It wasn't a joke, but he's not related, right?
Related to what? The characters in the movie?
Well, I mean, it might have been one of like a self-reflection or something.
I don't know.
No. Stars Angelica Houston, Raul Julia, Christopher Lloyd, Joan Cusack, Christina Ricci, Carol Kane. Really a big cast when you think about the people that are in that movie. But I actually loved the original Addams Family. Just Addams Family, is that right? The one that came before that. But this one actually had the Thanksgiving scene in it. So it was funny. I loved the whole idea of this. I used to watch the TV show. The plot of this one is Wednesday and Pugsley Addams, who are the kids, get a new baby brother. So they have to spend a large portion of their time of the movie trying to get rid of it. It's like a really dark, what do you even call a movie like this? It's like a dark comedy.
Yeah.
And then this one takes place at the end of the summer. The kids go off to summer camp, and then it takes place over Thanksgiving, where they have like a Thanksgiving scene they have to play out. So there's a turkey named Brotherhood about the first Thanksgiving, and the good kids are cast as pilgrims, while the social outcasts, which are the Addams Family kids, are cast as the natives, and it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
It's gets a 6.6 on IMDb, a good one from my childhood.
It would probably be my top 5 Thanksgiving scenes, but just left out because it was really just that scene. Like, it wasn't about Thanksgiving.
I'm curious where you're going here then after this.
You'll see.
This is it. So yeah, that was my number 5. What's yours?
Number 5 for me, 1983. So I'm going back in time, going way back, 1983. The Big Chill.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen The Big Chill?
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So my uncle had it on his wall. He had like one of those movie posters on his wall growing up.
Sure.
And it says like good times, like good sex, good whatever on the movie poster. And I remember always being like, oh, this is too risque for me. And so I never watched it.
Yeah, I mean, for our age, I don't know what. Yes, I mean, for our age, it deals with a lot of heavy themes.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's about an hour 45 minutes. IMDb gives it a 7.2. Rotten Tomatoes 74%. Written, directed by Lawrence Kasdan. I call him Larry.
You guys are on those.
Who
kind of
basically
terms.
he's done a lot of the Star Wars movies. He did Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's directed smaller films like Silverado, French Kiss, which I
like
love. French Kiss. It's kind of cute with Kevin
Someone
Kline.
dead in that?
French Kiss. I don't think anybody's
No.
dead.
Not Weekend at Bernie's. No.
No, not Weekend at Bernie's and Mumford. This movie stars an all-star cast, and when they were young, Tom Berenger, Glenn Close, Jeff Goldblum, William Hurt, Kevin Kline.
It's a big cast.
Joe Bethwell. It's huge. The synopsis is, this is why it's heavy for, when I was 1 when this movie came out. A group of 7 former college friends gather for a weekend reunion around Thanksgiving, at Thanksgiving, at a South Carolina winter house after the funeral of one of their friends. So,
Oh my gosh, I've seen this movie.
are you sure?
I think we watched it together.
Well, we watched what was a really bad bastardization of this movie,
Which
like
was
a modern version. I don't remember what the name of it was.
So maybe I haven't.
Like What Happened to Alex or something like that.
Oh, okay.
But maybe we've seen this. I mean, you would know if it was in 1983. Was the movie that we saw made in 1983?
I feel like this was like right
had
when I
Kevin
met you and
Kline?
I was trying to woo you and
No.
being like, no.
No, I don't think so.
So it was a different guy. Sorry.
Yeah, and I still have some like Beavis and Butthead references or from our last episode, or Idiocracy references in here. My mistake. I need to get that out of there.
So, but good movie.
Great movie, and very, very appropriate for where we are, and probably a lot of our audiences. Like, going back and watching this now would probably hit home, where you're this idealistic college student and you have all these dreams and things like that. And this movie is about coming back around in your 30s. And the name Big Chill, what it's in reference to is what happens in every generation, where you're we're all idealistic, kind of leaving college around that age, and then reality happens. You become more self-centric. You become more like you start valuing different things. Like, reality sets in a little bit,
right,
unfortunately, and it's the big chill that happens for every generation. And what reunites these close friends in college who had all these big dreams to do everything, and they're off doing different things now. Very well-built characters is the death of a friend, and they come back together for the long weekend to talk about their lives, and it's
and they ate turkey.
There's turkey being eaten.
All right, I'm gonna watch it again.
Just a great movie. It was nominated for 3 Oscars: Best Picture, Best Supporting Actress for Glenn Close, and Best Original Screenplay. Kevin Costner technically is in this movie as well, but all of his scenes were cut. He plays the friend who committed suicide.
Oh, okay.
So he's the reason why these friends get back together.
It was a bit out of scope for the age, right? Oh, I guess it was in the 80s that it was filmed. So he was what?
Oh yeah, he was probably in his
30s.
Like early 30s,
Okay.
maybe late 20s even.
Let's watch it again.
I really enjoyed it. I think I could say I loved it because of the themes. And I think it would be, if I loved it then when I wasn't this, I was probably that idealistic person when I watched it, and now being like more inward and self-absorbed now that we have a family, and more of it is about us, and but still trying to be reflective of our ideals and trying to hold on to them as long as we can.
Right.
And I think a lot of the themes and the conversations, the deep conversations they have in that movie, is worth revisiting. Catherine Clark, also had this one for her. She said it was a bit of a stretch. I don't think so, because it does take place over Thanksgiving weekend. So
And there was turkey.
I
right.
believe. All right, number four for you.
I'm notating this, and I'm double checking you. Everybody go double check Rob if there was turkey in this movie.
Next for you, number 4.
All right, next for me, may line up or should line up. Number 4. Wait. Oh, yeah. Number 4 for me is the 2009. No,
actually, none of my movies are before 2000, after 2000.
Okay. 2009 movie, The Blind Side. Loved this movie.
What a stretch.
What do you mean a stretch?
What a stretch.
Whatever. So, directed by and written by John Lee Hancock, starring Quentin Aaron, Sandra Bullock, and Tim McGraw. It's the story of Michael Orr, a homeless and traumatized boy who becomes an All-American football player and first-round draft pick with the help of a caring woman, Sandra Bullock, and her family. So they take him in. 7.7 on IMDb. Have it on VHS, which that's always...
You have it on VHS?
Yeah.
Did it come out? When would it come out?
2009.
Why do you have it on VHS?
I mean, I just do.
That's weird.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you're lying about this.
I'm not lying about this. I'll go get it. I'm going to go in my bins in the back of the house.
It's such a stretch to call this a Thanksgiving movie for me.
It takes place over Thanksgiving. They enjoy a Thanksgiving meal as a family together.
Years. There is a Thanksgiving meal, and it is about family and kind of family. So I give you.
You mean that whole family thing about Thanksgiving?
The family aspect of Thanksgiving, but there's one
Thanksgiving dinner, Yeah. So that's where it makes it. And I watched this movie many times, loved this movie, and I thought it was an awesome one to catch. It always made me feel really good.
What do you we were together, weren't we?
Oh yeah.
You're making this up. I feel like that you owned the VHS copy of this movie.
I have a VHS copy.
So you picked it up while we were.
I had VHSs
dating.
Before I knew you, or around the time I knew you.
You bought a VHS tape.
I don't.
The year after.
Why are you questioning me? You're really
That's
picking
true.
at me right now.
I shouldn't do that.
Don't question my.
I should know better.
My stories. I'm questioning myself.
It was a good story. Let's go with it.
But I will say I've seen this movie many times in some forum, and it was awesome. Everybody loves this movie.
It's a good movie. Michael Orr is still playing football.
He is?
Yeah.
For who?
Not the Ravens. I don't know.
Do you think he still keeps in touch with Sandra Bullock?
Perhaps.
So what's your number?
Number 4 for me? It is so similar to The Big Chill in the sense of, I guess, really I don't know. I struggle having both of these on here. This is The Ice Storm. It is a better movie. Probably more my type of movie. The 1997's The Ice Storm. Hour 52 minutes, IMDb 7.5, Rotten Tomatoes 84%. Critics and fans agree that this is a better movie. But yeah, it's very similar in what it's about. It's just kind of very conversational about situations like in life. Directed by Ang Lee, who does those types of movies very well. Sense and Sensibility, Brokeback Mountain, Life of Pi. Stars Kevin Kline, who we talked about, Joan Allen, Sigourney Weaver, Elijah Wood, Tobey Maguire, Christina Ricci. It's also Katie Holmes' first movie, I believe. It takes place in 1973, kind of suburban Connecticut, where middle-class families are experimenting with casual sex and substance abuse, and they find their lives beyond their control. All takes place over Thanksgiving weekend, and kind of focuses vignettes of different people's lives and how it all intersects, and tragedies that may or may not befall different characters.
So was Thanksgiving a focal point? Like they were like, "Hey, it's Thanksgiving, we're getting together."
That's what it's all about.
It's a thing. Okay.
And what I like, and what I left off the list, we'll talk about later. I don't want to say what it is. But I like dysfunctional families, and having what Thanksgiving does is, no matter whether you have a great family or not, you're coming together. And I really love being a fly on the wall for dysfunctional families and peeking on those, peeking in on those, and the anxiety and the stress and all of that.
I
it's
hate
fun.
that.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch.
Any remote amount of stress at a family reunion for me is I've just got to go. We don't do stress. Yeah,
but it's fun to watch on the screen because it is
more.
On
the screen,
it is more. You're right, but it is reality. You can't avoid it. Tensions will build. You have, even in our situation. 40 people. There's bound to be a conversation that's not going to go well, or that's just the reality of life. And the whole we're all enjoying each other. Whatever. it's
there.
partially true, but there's also the underbelly, and I like seeing more of that side of movies, and this does that. Very well directed movie. Have you ever been through an ice storm, by the way?
You mean like?
You know what an ice storm is?
No.
You would know. It is where you walk outside and then everything is ice. Like literally
I guess
ice.
I have. I mean, I haven't been standing outside.
It happened to
during
me
one.
once at Northwestern where I was trying to get to the L and the whole streets were just like an inch thick of just ice. And it's the right combination of temperature where it's raining and then all of a sudden just flash freezes.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. Number 3 for you.
I have one that you should have on your list.
At number 3?
At number 3, I've mentioned it maybe a couple times before in past episodes. Maybe top love stories.
Don't have it probably.
No.
Top love stories with Thanksgiving?
I mean, it's there.
Okay.
You missed it. The 1998 flick.
Don't have it.
You've Got Mail. Love it.
So when I say, "Hey, You've Got Mail," like what kind of movie is that? You say, "Oh, Thanksgiving movie."
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, remember that time that Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan had turkey?
Ate turkey legs?
Yeah. And remember
Had
they
some
bonded and met online and then had turkey together? That's exactly what I think of when I think of this movie.
There is a scene, if I recall, there is a Thanksgiving scene. So
there is, in fact. Thank you for recalling that. Directed and written by a different person.
Nora Ephron?
Directed by Nora Ephron, written by Miklaus Laszlo. Stars Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, Greg Kinnear, who I also love. For some reason, he's just awesome. I don't know why. I find him funny. Yeah.
Middle of the road.
Whatever. The owner of a large bookstore chain, Tom Hanks, puts the owner of a small bookstore out of business, Meg Ryan. And meanwhile, they don't... You just gave that look like I can't believe you're talking about this.
No, I was taking a little bit of a break while you were talking. I was taking my breather. I was like... Tilting my neck back.
You just did like the eyebrow pinch, head back. Like I can't believe you're talking about.
I've had way too much wine. You poured me the largest glass of wine.
That's called the at-home regular pour.
No, too much.
Whatever. So, now I lost my train of thought. The two of them in person can't stand each other, but then they meet online via like a dating website situation, and it's the relationship that ensues between Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan that make this little movie awesome.
I should remake this like on Tinder or something.
I think the whole reason Tinder is failing is it's missing out on what AOL used to have,
which is like slow dial-up speed.
Yeah. Like there's a whole thing to urgency. Yeah. Like you can't have like
there's no instant.
You don't need instant. Like you have to be like
you
waiting.
Press send and you have to wait like a day for your
wait for a day.
So
it's built in non-creepiness. Like you have to wait for your message to send. And that's why I feel like Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan succeeded. Is because of AOL dial-up. So, and that's my theory. It gets a 6.5 on IMDb. This was in the era of love story movies that I loved, like the While You Were Sleeping, like all those types of movies. And this is why this movie is awesome and makes my number 3.
The next movie I have is pure nostalgia. And I just had to have it on here because I'm very nostalgic about this movie. I realize it is not a great movie.
I have it on mine. No, I don't. Because
really?
mine next two are great.
This is 1991's Dutch. Have you ever seen Dutch?
No.
You're serious. 1991, I feel like this could have been starring Ed O'Neill. Like I feel like you would have maybe seen it. So, directed by Peter Feynman, whose only other claim to fame is Crocodile Dundee, which I'll give him credit for.
I do like that.
He probably took all that success and did this movie and then never was able to work again. But written by John Hughes. And I
like John Hughes.
Yeah, John Hughes is great.
Yeah.
This is very much a John Hughes script. Just in the way, like it has a feel of John Hughes. So, for whatever it's worth, Peter Feynman was able to capture it. Stars Ed O'Neill, who I mentioned, Married with Children fame, and also Modern Family, Ethan Embry, and JoBeth Williams, who I mentioned earlier, folks, from The Big Chill.
The Big Chill,
So I've got a lot of kind of overlapping, interesting things there. So the plot, I love this plot. To get to know his girlfriend's son, a working-class good guy, played by Ed O'Neill, volunteers to pick up kind of an obnoxious prep school kid. So he's trying to woo JoBeth Williams. Ed O'Neill is. It's like, hey, like really. She's like, I'd really love my son hasn't been home the last couple of Thanksgivings. Really great if he could be here. Hey, babe, I'll take care of it. Like, I'll go, yeah, okay. How much trouble could he be? He's a, high school kid, whatever. Like, I'll go pick him up. I'll bring him home for Thanksgiving. Road trip with, two people who don't get along. Insanity ensues. He's not a great kid. He's obnoxious, but he's, Ed O'Neill's got some tricks up his sleeve as well, too. I just really love the road trip kind of story. A lot of laugh out loud moments. I don't want to rewatch that. I would rewatch this, and I think I would laugh. It is very much Uncle Buck-esque, which John Hughes also wrote, may have directed. I don't think he directed that one, but has a lot of that John Hughes vibe to it. So highly recommend if you're a fan of John Hughes. If you haven't seen it, check it out. All right, number 2 for you.
You ready?
I'm ready.
It should match up.
2 and 1 should match up?
Yes.
Okay. Let me look at my list.
With 100% certainty.
And this is a scene, or is this a movie that...
No, set over a time frame.
We might line up.
I think we will.
Oh my goodness.
I think we will. And then we'll wrap.
My hands are in the air right now.
Okay. All right, you ready?
I don't want to rap, but yeah, let's go ahead.
Or you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My number 2 is the 1992.
Oh yeah.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Hoo-ha?
Hoo-yah!
Oh, yeah. So,
which actually isn't the
wait, is it hoo-yah or
well,
hoo-ha?
he says hoo-yah, but it's supposed to, like, in the Marines, it's hoo-ah.
Hoo-ah.
Like, he actually does it.
Right,
he does it wrong.
saying,
he does it wrong.
But I did it right?
Yeah.
Okay. But I said hoo-ha, which is weird.
Yeah, you said that a term for vagina.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
This is getting awkward. So, 1992 flick Scent of a Woman, if you haven't seen it before, directed by Martin Brest, written by Giovanni Arpino, stars Al Pacino, Chris O'Donnell, James Rebhorn, and Gabrielle Anwar.
Oh, you forgot one person. Key person.
Who?
The annoying preppy kid. First
What was his
actorial debut. The late Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He was. Oh,
he's
you're right.
He's the guy, like
you're
the
right.
cheater.
I can't believe I forgot him.
Yeah,
you're right. Why don't you talk about it and then I'll jump in on you.
Yeah, the plot is it takes place over Thanksgiving week, and a prep school student, kind of wet behind his ears, Chris O'Donnell, needing money, agrees to babysit a pretty over the top
like an
blind
intense
man,
guy.
very intense Al Pacino type.
I mean,
blind
that's
man.
intense. Yeah.
But the job is not what he anticipated. It takes place all over Thanksgiving weekend, and then it drifts off into other time frames. But really, it's all about that weekend. Nominated for 3 Oscars and winner of Best Actor, Al Pacino.
8.0 on IMDb.
Yeah, 88%. I think most people probably have seen this. If
I
you
hope so.
Have not. It's a long movie. There are
so
scenes
good.
here that are probably referenced in pop culture over, like the hoo-ha scene that Carrie.
Yeah,
Carrie
the vagina scene that I just said is everywhere.
Yeah, it's a classic. I can say it.
It's a classic.
It's a classic movie that everybody probably should see.
Love it.
Interestingly enough, I don't know if you caught this in your research, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Leonardo DiCaprio all auditioned for the role.
I did.
And Jack Nicholson was supposed to be Al Pacino's character.
Al Pacino made it. He was such a
feel
good blind man.
Yeah, he studied, my understanding was he studied how to not like focus on it. He wouldn't let his eyes focus on anything. Is how he kind of did, and you can kind of see that then.
Oh, so believable.
But it was very believable.
Yeah.
And Al Pacino's just doing what he does best. I mean, he's great at it.
Being angry and intoxicated.
And very loud and loud inflections with his voice, and the dance scene with Gabrielle Anwar.
Oh, gosh. It was so good.
The courtroom scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman and the
I want to watch it again.
It's good. Martin Brest also did Beverly Hills Cop, Midnight Run, Meet Joe Black. So good director, great cast. Check this one out. I'm glad we lined up.
I know. That doesn't happen all the time. You know what?
I'm feeling confident here. I think we're going to line up on number 1 too.
Yeah, we have to.
I think we have to too.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about this one in my mind.
All right. Should we say it at the same time?
All right. On 3, 2, 1. Planes, trains, and automobiles.
I was gonna.
What were you doing?
Man.
What do you mean, man?
I was gonna try. No, that's what mine was.
What are you doing?
I was gonna try it. Like, you went so fast. I was gonna try and be funny, and then come up with like the name of a really bad Thanksgiving movie.
And what did you say?
I just mumbled something because I was gonna try and like not match up so that you'd be upset.
You could have said like turkey stuffing and
chicken.
Yeah, chicken.
Potato.
Turducken.
But I had planes, trains, and automobiles too.
As you should. High five. 2 and 1 lining up. That's impressive.
You know
Good
what?
taste. Man, I married the right person.
Oh.
Only validated now. Like, there were questions going into this.
Yeah, mine
And then
too.
it's like, well, I guess I'll hang on for another episode.
Totally. If like here was my thing. I was like, if 1 and 2 match,
I play those games.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'm glad we
in
both
my mind.
do.
Yeah,
so
where
do
I'm
I
like,
do too.
If this thing happens, then.
But if he says, if he doesn't get 3, like,
like if she said The Blind Side, then I'd. Oh wait, you did say The Blind Side. I'm out.
So rude. But yeah, I'm glad.
Go for it. Talk
I'm
about
glad we agreed.
1987's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
So strangely, I just saw this movie last year.
What? Where was I? Was I there?
I mean, the years are starting to blur together. The first time I saw this was with you. When did we watch this together?
Oh, we probably saw this. I remember seeing this
recently. Yeah. And that was the first time I had seen it. So I loved, this is my genre of movie.
Oh gosh.
I mean,
so
number
good.
one, it's John Candy. I love John Candy. I love Steve Martin. So John Candy for me is like the less attractive Brad Pitt or Matt Damon, right? Like,
excuse me?
No,
Wait,
I mean like
rewind.
Meaning
John Candy is the less what?
No, meaning like he's on my pedestals. He's on my pedestals.
Oh,
you're
saying he's on. Okay, he's
like
not. He's not talented like them.
No, that's exactly what he is.
No, he's a terrible dramatic actor.
What do you mean?
He is a very
Did you see Delirious?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you? Did you see What's Eating Harry Crumb?
I have. Yes.
So that's why he's on the same pedestal as Matt Damon.
Okay.
So we'll back it up. Maybe we don't agree on everything, but we do agree on this movie. So directed and written by John Hughes.
John Hughes.
Again.
Yes, I love John Hughes.
Stars Steve Martin, John Candy, Layla Robbins, Dylan Baker.
Yeah, not important.
Do you know who Dylan Baker is?
Yeah, Dylan
name.
Baker.
So for $1 million, what else was he in that? I'll give you $1 million right now if you can tell me what Dylan Baker was in. One of my favorite movies.
Oh, then I'm blanking now. I know who Dylan Baker is.
Do you want a clue?
Sure.
He has a giant goiter.
It's a giant goiter.
It's down to $500,000.
All right, just go.
What?
I don't know.
A goiter didn't give it away?
I'm really overserved.
All right.
I know Dylan Baker. Oh, he's in. Oh, Dylan Baker.
The goiter.
Yeah.
Remember he gets and his hair falls out? It was just awesome.
Dylan Baker. No, I'm picturing him.
Yeah. No, less attractive on the spectrum of things, but
his brother gives him the poison.
He does. Yeah. With the patch, the eye patch.
Oh, the eye patch. Ty? Was the brother's name Ty? Do I get like $1?
Like $1.
Okay, sweet.
It's right over here. It's in a check form. Here you go.
Ty. Where did I get that from?
I don't know.
That's
you
a
couldn't
deep
come
pull.
up with a guy with a goiter. Yeah. So a man must struggle to travel home for Thanksgiving with the obnoxious, slow.
It's another road trip movie, like Dutch.
I love road trip movies. Yeah.
Yes.
With this obnoxious shower ring curtain salesman as his companion, who is John Candy. Both of them are on this epic trip home to try and they have to get home for Thanksgiving. And it's everything that ensues from the airport to a many miles further to get home.
I've been in this situation somewhat. Like, I've never done the planes, trains, and automobiles, but I've had enough canceled flights where then I've needed to like rent a car. But yeah, this is like everyone's worst nightmare. And this was John Hughes's, like, he lived this situation, which he was, at the time when this movie was made, he was churning out screenplays in three days. Like, he wrote this movie in 3 days. 3 days. He wrote this movie in 3 days, like probably with minimal revisions. And that's what he was doing. He was just churning out scripts. So he lived through this situation and he wrote about it.
It's
hilarious.
Best. Yeah.
Hilarious.
And you are Steve Martin, which is hilarious.
I am the uptight. Yeah, I'm more Steve Martin. You're more John Candy. But there's heart in this movie too.
Oh, yeah.
Tons of heart.
So apparently no transportation company actually wanted to be a part of this movie because nobody wanted to have like...
Well, I don't blame them.
Well, every transportation mode fails, obviously. So no one wants to be like, oh, yeah, I'm the taxi company that can't get you there. I'm the train company that can't get you there. So they had to like refurbish old transportation sets to like make it look like an airplane or like an airline and make it look like a taxi cab service so that they could represent what it was. But nobody wanted to actually be a part of it. So
speaking of taxi, Kevin Bacon makes a little appearance there in the beginning. That rental car scene, which is probably one of there's so many great there's so many great scenes. The pillows.
Oh yeah.
Pillows is my favorite scene. But rental car scene, F word is used 18 times. I want my effing car and my effing thing. And
I know.
18 times within 1 minute.
But John Candy doesn't swear.
He does not swear. That's beyond.
He's a good man.
Any honorable mentions for you that were close?
No.
You only saw 5 movies that take place. Yeah, I won't go through my list. Let me
that's a good
see.
idea.
I did have Adam's Family Values. Brokeback Mountain, I think, has a Thanksgiving scene.
I don't want
in
to
it.
talk about it.
Okay.
We'll put that somewhere else.
All right. Yeah, put it in your...
Put it somewhere else.
Put it in the
All right,
rear.
Rob.
Sorry. That was funny.
What's happening?
That's part of the movie.
Edit that. Edit that out.
Clip that out.
That was weird.
So let's go to our audience then. Every episode, we randomly select one member of our audience who shared their top movie picks. Based on those submissions, here are our audience top Thanksgiving movies. Tied for last place, and really we were spread pretty thin. We had Adam's Family Values tied with Charlie Brown, Thanksgiving. Dutch made the list. Grumpy Old Men, The Big Chill, The Blind Side, You've Got Mail, all tied for we'll call it top 5, 4 through 1 or 4 through or 2 through 5, I guess. Number 1, and in alignment with us, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So let's actually go and check to see who our winner is. Random between. All right. Well, this episode's winner is Lindsay Rogenbach. Her vote was actually for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So, Lindsay, be on the lookout for a free Amazon movie rental coming your way. If you want to win a free movie like Lindsay, be on the lookout for our top 5 movie posts and share your favorite picks with us. We're going to go right into, or you feel like taking a break, right into it? Let's go now. We're going to go right into our rec segment where we assign each other movies either for our pleasure or the other person's pleasure in some cases. This last episode, you assigned me Hacksaw Ridge and I assigned you Nerve. What did you think about Nerve, Care?
Where did we watch this? Remind me.
In bed.
No, I meant like on Netflix or
okay. So that's my bad. I saw it for free on the cruise that I went on, and so I assumed it was free. We actually had to rent it. We had to pay like $5.99 for it on Amazon.
So here's my review. Directed by Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman.
It's important to know who these people are. Do you know who they are?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know.
They directed Catfish, that documentary that turned into an MTV TV show, which was about like people who like use the internet and lie about who they are, and you find out like it's.
I never saw that.
It's a guy pretending to be a girl, and they've seduced someone to come and like believe that they were in love for like a year,
and then drain their bank account.
No draining bank account. It is like, yeah, it's a very if you haven't seen Catfish, like it's a really interesting situation.
So they did that too. Written by Jeanne Ryan. It stars Emma Roberts and Dave Franco. It's it's kind of hard for me to describe. What genre is this? It's like thriller meets tech. It's a tech thriller.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
Tech drama?
Do people say
tech drama thriller?
Yeah.
I don't know.
A high school girl finds herself immersed.
Little sci-fi.
A little bit sci-fi.
Yeah, right?
A high school girl finds herself immersed in an
really like it's very like it could this. All right, you get into it, but this could be happening now.
Easily happen.
This could be happening right now.
It probably does happen.
Yeah.
We're probably like those
We're
old
just not
people
cool.
that they're like
we're not invited.
We don't even know what Snapchat is. So
Yeah,
like these
that's
people
true.
are like, hey, people do this stuff all the time.
Yeah,
So anyway,
describe what the plot.
they
It's
get
a
in
good
this
plot.
online game of truth or dare where every move starts to be manipulated by the environment around them. So people start following them like you would on any social media. So, for example, like Rob and I were to encounter each other, we don't know each other, and they would say, they would give you a truth or dare. And so you'd say, oh, I dare you to throw a glass of water in the guy's face. And I would do it. And then you get more people that are watching you. And then for every dare that you get, there's an incremental dollar value that's associated with the dare. And it gets more and more extreme and it snowballs and whatever from there. And so it's the story of these two people that kind of come together. We're both trying to make money on the deal.
But,
and you sort of
not
get wrapped
really.
up in
Emma
it, right?
Roberts isn't trying to make money.
No, but Dave Franco, I think, is.
No, that's not what he's in for either. He has another ulterior motive. Emma Roberts is really an introverted kind of like.
But she gets sucked into the game.
Well, no, but she's an introvert who, because she's friends with, she's very shy. She's on the yearbook team, takes pictures, like always an outsider. She's a watcher, which this movie breaks it up into. You can choose to be a watcher or a player. And she is so much a watcher in her personality type. Her best friend is this outgoing extrovert who is a player in the game and moons moons the
whole crowd, whatever, yeah.
and whatever. And you know, she has a crush on the high school quarterback or whatever, but she can't work up the courage to talk to him. She gets, you know, spurned, and then kind of like out of almost rage, like decides, you know what, I'm going to prove everybody like I can be.
I can jump into the game. I can jump into it.
I can
daring.
be extroverted. I can be this person that I'm not, or maybe I am. I don't know, and be a player. So she signs up reluctantly to do this, and then encounters James Franco, who's also a fellow player.
You seem very passionate. Do you feel like Emma Roberts?
I'm passionate about this movie because it's like this could be going on, and I was sucked into the truth or dare aspects and the dares, and like interested like what would happen next. I mean, it's not a great movie.
No, it's not. That's what I was going to get to. I think it's
I'm talking about your movie.
I know you are, because I know you're keyed up because you feel like Emma. You're like, yeah, if I had gotten in the game, I was a bit of a watcher, but I bet I would have jumped in and also jumped off a building or whatever that they did. So it gets a 6.7 on IMDb. For me, it's if I was going to say it to people, it would be like, catch it if it's for free.
Yeah, I wouldn't have paid for it either.
Don't pay for it.
But I was pleasantly surprised by I watched it for free.
Attention grabbing. Is it thrill seeking?
I thought it was going to be terrible.
It wasn't terrible.
Right. And I had it for free, and I was like, I'm going to see what happens. Yeah. And I thought it was like,
I appreciated
worth
the
my
wreck.
free money.
It was worth my free money. I would have been mad if it wasn't. It was worth nothing. So there you have it. But speaking of worth something, why don't you tell me about the movie I wrecked you?
Oh, that's jumping ahead of yourself a little bit.
Is it?
Do I feel like Hacksaw Ridge is worth something? 2016, Carrie, thank you for assigning me a movie in theaters. We don't get out to theaters much, and thanks to the kind-heartedness of your parents, we were able to make it out to see Hacksaw Ridge. Playing in theaters now, for those checking into the podcast. 2 hours, 19 minutes, a bit long. Went by. It felt long. Too.
Did it? It didn't for me.
8.6
Woo!
on IMDb, 86%
really?
on Rotten Tomatoes. Directed by the aforementioned Mel Gibson.
John Hughes? No. Oh,
no,
yeah,
not John Hughes. Mel Gibson, who I've said I love him as a director. Starring Andrew Garfield, Teresa Palmer, Hugo Weaving, Sam Worthington, and mad props, Vince Vaughn. Vince Vaughn,
right,
chewed up every scene, doing like drama, but comedy drama.
You're laughing.
And I'm laughing at him. Like how many of his scenes were improvised? I think everything he just made up.
Here's my question to you, because we couldn't talk about it before. Here's my question to you: were we laughing so much because it's Vince Vaughn? No. Was it his lines? Was it his scripting?
No, I can't. It is something about him delivering.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you had said the same lines and you would have casted it differently, would we have been laughing?
No, it's something about the way, and since Swingers, the way he delivers certain things, it is just so amusing. And him playing a sergeant in the army. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. What this movie is about, Hacksaw Ridge, out in theaters now, guys. World War II, true story. American Army medic Desmond Doss, who served during the Battle of Okinawa, refuses to kill people. He is a conscientious objector. All right, let that sink in for a minute. What that means is he is unwilling to take another person's life, and even unwilling to pick up any type of a weapon. And he volunteers to go into the army. True story. Okay, I won't get into the details about what happens during the movie too much. For those who don't know the story, the true story. It is amazing. Like, it is an amazing true story. To the point where I'm watching the movie and I'm like, what the hell? Like, this
can't be real.
This is stupid. Like, there's no way.
A person would do this stuff.
And then to go back and research and like, oh yeah, no, all of this to some degree, to like a great degree, happened.
Yeah.
It is just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Like, so much of it does not make any sense to me. I am also like, I don't know if I'm a pacifist. People are shooting at me. I'd like a gun present to be able to shoot back potentially at them.
Protected.
I want to protect my family. Like, I've thought about, like, I run scenarios in my head, like, if people were to, whatever, like, I want to be able to protect you guys. Like,
Thanks, Rob.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to do that. So going into battle with people shooting at you
with nothing.
And just running in and trying to save people's lives as a medic.
Yeah.
Just makes it just doesn't compute to me. Just doesn't believe, I can't believe this happened.
Yeah.
The movie starts off a little slow, but it's compelling. Like, you start developing fondness for Andrew Garfield's character, Teresa Palmer, who's the love interest in this movie. You start developing an appreciation for them. The first act of the 3-act structure, you develop fondness. Then he goes to boot camp, and you're in on that. And
There's the conflict.
There's some conflict there. Obviously, people aren't super happy that there's this conscientious objector on their troop.
Yeah, they're like, dead weight, man.
Yeah. So they think he's a coward.
Yeah.
3rd act starts, and it is intense. It is Mel Gibson, and he is not, as I mentioned before, he has not directed anything. He's not been in anything really, except for Expendables Part 3 or whatever, since his DUI and his like rampant rage and racist-filled, expletive-filled kind of rant that he went on back in 2009, 2010. So this is his first movie back, and he comes back strong. And like, again, say what you will about him as a person or that situation. Like, I believe in letting and forgiving people. He is an incredible talent behind the camera and in front of the camera, and he brings it home with this particular movie. It was made for $40 million. It's already made $45 million in the first like week or two that it's been out. It will be up. I hope the Academy can look past his past transgressions. It will be up for Best Picture.
Oh, yeah.
And Best Director.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think it's better than like the act. I had said like he does action really well. I don't know if I liked it better than Saving Private Ryan.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. The action in particular, which I was like...
Did you cry?
Did I cry?
You said you were going to cry.
I don't think I wept. I don't think there was a tear that
Did
fell
you
on
cry
me.
in Saving Private Ryan? So did
absolutely
I.
Did.
So did I.
Absolutely did.
And I didn't cry in this movie.
There was a color tone. I know I'm getting kind of geeky here with like details. This one had more browns in it. And Saving Private Ryan had more blues, and like
this was more
like the action was more
300-ish in color, right?
This one was
like reddish browns, and
there were brown, like definite browns, and like for me it was on purpose, but like the clarity of Steven Spielberg directing Saving Private Ryan, the battle scenes were much more visceral for me there, even though these ones were more graphic. Yeah. Much more graphic. So if you have a weak stomach, I definitely suggest staying away.
Well, you just close your eyes.
You just close your eyes, which you did. You looked away a lot, and you were jumpy. This was much more jumpier than Saving Private Ryan. But I don't think I can say I like this movie. I like this. Oh, that story was great too.
It was good.
I think I prefer Saving Private Ryan.
Oh yeah, I prefer
but
it for
now
sure.
I'm being very picky. Like, this is a great movie.
It's a great movie, worth seeing and worth seeing in theaters.
Paying theater money to see it.
I agree.
Yeah, I really liked it. That's all I can say. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I can't remember.
You tried to pay. A credit card was declined, probably from all the Black Friday shopping that I was doing. So I ended up having to pay.
No, I think I couldn't remember my debit number or something.
Your PIN number.
Can I remember if it's your birthday or the kids or whatever?
Something not important.
That's what I do.
Yeah, you
so
can't remember
pay.
my birthday. Yeah,
it's nice.
So what do you have for me next episode? Have you? What
do you mean?
Haven't planned. Would
you like me?
Would you like me to go first?
What do you have for me planned?
I do want to point out too, Connie Wozniak, my movie soulmate, also said that she loved it. Wasn't too sure about the beginning of the movie, as it seemed a bit slow, and then once boot camp started, it kind of picked up. And I agree, it was very much the same way. Like, it was a little slow. I was still engaged, but it was really slow. And then Mel Gibson started doing what Mel Gibson does, and then the ending, the interviews with the real life people. It was pretty amazing. For you, next episode. Oh, what to choose?
What do you have?
What to choose? I'll actually go with a audience suggestion. Phil Aruka had just recently seen Trumbo, and it's been on my list. Deals with McCarthyism, and I've been wanting to see it. It was a Best Picture nominee, I believe, from last year. I want to see it too, so I figure, why not share the wealth? We'll go see it. I think it's streaming on Netflix or Amazon, maybe Amazon. So let's go see Trumbo. We'll go see Trumbo. Let's invite your parents.
Wait, where are we going to go see it?
We're seeing here.
Oh, it's on. Oh,
it's streaming.
Okay.
I know you're kind of distracted because you're desperately quickly searching for a movie that I haven't seen.
Not.
No, not at all. That's not what's going on.
That's not what's happening. So I have two movies for you.
Oh, I got to choose.
Oh, you get to choose.
I love choice.
Yeah, that's good. One is, have you ever seen the movie 13 Days?
Yes. Oh, no, I haven't. Also, no, I haven't. I'm saying also a Phil Aruka pick, I think.
It was I've had a few people pick it too.
No, I have not seen it, and I probably should.
Yeah. So that's what I'd like you to
Kevin
see.
Costner, JFK, Bay of Pigs.
Yeah.
And very fitting. Carrie, you did this on accident. You have no idea what you just done.
No, I know I don't.
You don't know?
No.
What happened in the news recently?
I have no idea.
Biggest news. Biggest news.
Don't put me on the spot.
Fidel Castro.
He passed away.
He passed away. This movie is about the Cuban
Yes.
Missile Crisis.
Exactly.
That was your plan all along?
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. You just fall into luck. That's amazing. I want to thanks everybody. Thank everybody for listening. The music you've been listening to is Fervor. Check us out on social media, folks. Facebook, go to our Facebook page, like it. Follow us on Twitter, alternatingpod.com. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google or wherever you listen to podcasts. People, be sure to leave some feedback for us. We really appreciate that. That helps us get kind of up in the rankings.
Makes
there.
the dark days better.
We never actually decided on a next episode. Let's do. Tune in for our next show where we'll be talking about our top 5 Christmas movies. Right? Is it too soon?
Maybe, but let's
Maybe.
do it.
Let's do it.
Let's lead in so that people can have some really
Some
good ones
prep
if
time.
they missed it.
Targeted for it'll work. Targeted for December 19th. So that's when you'll hear from us next. Top 5 Christmas movies. We'll catch you then, folks.
There comes a day, don't wake up, it's too late, we just waited too long, so come back home to me. Never thought I could exist inside this storm and become the light. Come to think I could never be so wrong. It was suicide.